Welcome guys! In this video, I will show you 10 awesome tips and tricks that will help you to get better at this game. If you're playing with squads, then learn how to sandwich your opponents. This will increase your chances of winning the fights. For example, this is your opponents at this location, and your team fighting with them in this marked location. The best thing you can do in these situations is by sending your teammate to flank. If you manage to flank right behind your opponents, then you can have higher chances of winning the fight. This is basically flanking, but this is what I call a sandwich flank. Works best in open fields and ridges with small covers. Try not to let your opponents know you're flanking. If they do, then try to get some strong cover, example like this. From here you can put pressure on your opponents from both sides, front and back. And I'm sure you can win almost any fights if you manage to sandwich them correctly. Here is a circle shift tip. It's important to play in the circle in PUBG Mobile. It is the winning formula. A lot of time it's not about killing someone. It's about getting the best place in the next circle and out-positioning your opponent, giving yourself a tactical advantage. Depending on the terrain where the circle will be formed, the best place I think to be is at the thinnest part of the line in between blue and white circle, as shown here. By using this strategy, you give yourself a better position to hold. The blue zone being at your back will make it less likely you will get attacked from behind. This will give you more time to focus on the terrain in front of you. It's important to take notes of your geographical surroundings like mountains and house compounds. Also keep an eye on supply drops. These will give you a better idea where players will be. Players tends to move to middle of the circle thinking they would be in the next circle, but in reality, if you stay in middle you will most likely to get shots from all the directions. So I would not recommend moving to the center of the circle. Try to stay on edges with blue zone to be more safe. The next tip is about vehicle driving. I always say that don't drive towards your enemies in a straight line. This will get you killed easily. While driving in a straight line, you will be an easy target to hit. The best thing you can do is circle your enemy with a vehicle or rotate in a circular path. This will make you a harder target to hit, especially when you do it in a right way. Here is an example. Hitting someone who is moving in horizontal way is a lot harder because you have to constantly swipe your thumb left or right, and it is very hard. But players from vehicle can easily hit the target. So if you see someone in an open field, don't drive towards them in a straight line. Drive in a circular path so your enemy's shots won't get connected, mostly. And your team can easily spray them down. Here are 4 flare drop location with 100% guaranteed to spawn in Miramar. The first one is at San Martin, at this exact location. On top of this building with a billboard. You will find the flare gun at this exact same location. The next flare gun location is at Chumasera, at this marked location. The flare gun will spawn on top of the building between red and blue house. By the way, I suggest you to find a real gun before picking up this flare gun, so you won't get killed by other players who came for the flare gun. And the third flare gun location is at Minas Generales. The flare gun should be lying in the ground around my marker. This is very unusual location. And the last flare gun location is at La Cabrera, at my marker. There might be more flare gun locations, but this 4 locations is all I know, and credit goes to Reddit. If you know any more, let me know in the comments. You will find the flare gun on top of this same building. Shoot the flare gun and enjoy your level 3 gears and some OP weapons. Tip number 5, don't stand still. No matter which place you are in, you can still get shots from any direction, so always keep moving, especially when someone is trying to snipe you. It will be very hard for them to hit you. Tip number 6, bait your enemies with loot. This trick works best when 2 different enemies are fighting and one wins the fight and goes to loot them. It is your time to kill the enemy while he is looting peacefully. 80% of the time people tends to loot immediately after killing someone, so you can take advantage of that situation. This game is all about strategy from the very moment the plane starts flying. If you're playing squads, then you need to know what you're good at, like specific roles. Maybe you are good at spraying down enemies at any distance. Or maybe you are extremely good at close range. Or maybe you are really good at sniping. Maybe you are a good driver. Or maybe you're the guy who knows the whole map, each and every location and how to rotate each circle. Or maybe you could be the guy for baiting the enemies. Or maybe you can be the guy who uses smokes and grenades really well. Or have a great mind for how to flank your enemy. Or maybe you are the most important role, the one who revives the teammate and supplies them with meds and ammo. No matter what is your role, you have to identify with your squad. The 4 basic roles that every team should have. The first important role is IGL. IGL stands for In-Game Leader, and that is exactly what this player is. Your IGL should be the most experienced player and who is capable of giving the best call out in any situations, and your IGL should be the player where you put your faith to have major choices decide. These choices will include things like rotations, where to land, when to fight, and when to crash a compound. The second important role is Supporter. Supporter player role is to give support to the whole team, things like reviving teammates, distributing meds and ammo to the team, or watching for potential threats while your team is fighting. A support player will frequently give out personal stats in order to protect the team, such as becoming a bait for opponents, allowing the rest of the squad to put out the offensive damage. And the next role is Entry Fragger. Your Entry Fragger is going to be the player you have in the lead while pushing, or someone who is really good in close range. This player in most of the cases put themselves on the line to get knocked, so your team will follow up with a quick trade. In most team fights this is pretty simple, just shoot the guy shooting your teammate, but in buildings, however, is where it may take a while to learn. If you're entry fragging and you know there are opponents inside, it is important to understand that your job is to push through a door and clear out enough space for your teammate to come behind you. Try to give any information you can as quickly possible. As lastly, you need to understand these pushes are in your control and your teammates will depend on you. If you hesitate or step back and block doorways or don't give any information, you're setting your team to fail. The last role is the sniper. Having a sniper who is talented at shooting is extremely effective in order to make sure you are utilizing this player to the best. It's important to give them the proper gears such as level 3 helmet, as snipers are the one who will be the most trading headshots. And try to give them the highest range scope that your team has to offer. Being a sniper requires a lot of skills. You may not get many kills as your teammates, but you will give a lot of damage and also removing their armor, making it easier for your team to finish them. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. I hope you learned something new. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe for more upcoming content like these, and comment down below what video you want next.